We do what our ancestors did innately. We always been originators. We always been creators. We always been innovators from antiquity till now. Whether or not we know it or not, that's another thing. But it's in our veins. It's a part of our soul. It's a part of the soil. Ways that we've been practicing for thousands of years can't just be erased in 100 or 2 years. If y'all follow my content, then y'all know I like to show the correlation of our cultures in ancient times to the current. And this one ain't no different. So we're going to touch on Negro cloth, aka jeans. We're going to touch on Negroes, aka American Indians. We're going to touch on ancient lions, jaguars, and a whole lot more shit. Welcome into the end while we unveil some more hidden truths. In the 1800s, we created denim, which was called Negro cloth. Now, they try to give a whole lot of slave narratives to throw us off and to hide the truth that we weren't only cultivators of our lands, but also business owners, tailors, shoemakers, and everything you really could think of. Denim in the 1800s was made of indigo and cotton, two crops that's indigenous to the Americas, two crops that we've been cultivating for thousands of years right here. And you know they always try to slide in some African hijack and say we only knew it because of Africans, which is cap. Africans didn't even wear jeans or have the knowledge of making them, nor were they cultivating cotton and indigo like we were, or for the purposes that we used them for. They ain't know shit about this. This is indigenous American activities. And Negro cloth was worn by cowboys, and we know as Negroes, aka American Indians, we are the first cowboys. And don't forget that we invented the cotton seed planter and the cotton gin, despite what these crackers say. Now let's take a look at cotton real quick. Cotton 6,000 to 5,000 BC. Cotton is a plant that produces a mass of fiber around the seeds. This fiber is used to make textiles, right? See also weaving techniques. American Indians domesticated a variety of cotton indigenous to the Americas. In the Tehuacan Valley of what is now Mexico and on the eastern slope of the Andes in what is now Peru between 3,500 and 2,300 BC, this occurred independently from cotton domestication in the Indus Valley of what is now India in about 3,000 BC. Cotton was not cultivated in Egypt until about 700 BC. Oh yeah, let's keep walking. Archaeologists have found that 7,000 to 8,000 year old Peruvian mummies wrapped in cotton textiles. Some believe that wild cotton was used for clothing in Peru as early as 10,000 BC. These were made by people known as the Chinchorros. They estimate that as much as 10% of the land under cultivation in Peru was devoted to growing cotton, or to cotton growing. The plant was used primarily for textiles, but also it was a source of oil and food, and in some cases, it was considered medicine. Recent research has shown that cotton seeds are high in antibiotics. The Maya, right, whose culture arose in 1500 BC in what is now Mexico and parts of Mesoamerica, grew cotton in household garden plots as well as village fields. They developed extensive trade in woven cotton goods throughout Mesoamerica. The Aztec, whose empire established in what is now Mexico around parts of Mesoamerica in about 1100 AD, valued cotton so highly they used it along with cacao beans for a form of money. The Maya also made mattresses from cotton. The American cotton species, Gossypian bardi dent, some shit, is characterized by medium fibers and is distinguished from Egyptian cotton as well as that cultivated in India by its many shades, including beige, brown, mauve, rust, and chocolate. This fact so amazed the Spaniard Bernardo Cobo that he concluded in History of the New World, written in the 17th century, that the indigenous people of the Americas had devised a way to dye cotton while it remained on the plant. Later European writers copied his error, and in some circles, the myth still persists today. All right, let's get down to the second paragraph right quick. Although Alexander the Great, king of Macedonia from 336 to 323 BC, had introduced cotton to Europe, peep that, the plants could not be grown there, and therefore items made of cotton cloth were considered luxuries. The Spaniards first encountered cotton in the Americas. Let me repeat that because y'all know how close Spain is to Africa, right? All right. Now, the Spaniards first encountered cotton in the Americas when Taino Indians of the Caribbean islands offered it to Colombians as a trade good. The cotton textiles of both the Aztec and the Maya impressed early Spanish explorers. Now let's get down to the third paragraph. During colonial times in what would become the United States, planters in the South began growing indigenous cotton in the hope that it would replace the tobacco that quickly depleted soil nutrients. Cotton did not become a valuable cash crop until seeds from a variety with long, fine fibers from the Bahamas were introduced to Georgia. This variety was called Sea Island cotton because it grew best on the sandy coastline of Georgia's Sea Islands. That's what the Wale or the Wale Geechee were cultivated. These seeds are believed to be one of the same type that Columbus brought back to Spain from his first voyage in 1492. Eventually, Sea Island cotton was taken to Egypt in the mid-1800s. There, plant breeders crossed it with varieties indigenous in the Middle East to produce plants with an extremely long staple or fiber. With the invention of the cotton gin in 1793, the tedious and time-consuming job of removing cotton seeds from the fiber by hand was mechanized. By 1803, Southern planters were growing $10 million worth of cotton annually. This increased each year until the economy in the South became dependent on cotton. Keep walking with me, family. Now let's look at indigo. The name indigo is given to a number of shrubs of the genus Indigofera, a member of the pea family. A brilliant blue dye can be produced from these plants. Different varieties of indigo plants grown in warm climates throughout the world, including the West Indies and desert southwest of North America. The American species of indigo is called Indigofera sulfurticosa, independently of dyers in other parts of the world. American Indians discovered how to remove the colorless glucoside indican from the leaves of the plants and separate it into sugar and a yellow substance called indooxylate. Let's skip down. It says European colonists established large indigo plantations in North and South Carolina and in Georgia with Indigofera seeds they had attained in the West Indies. With the invention of synthetic indigo in 1900, the industry declined. Today, however, the interest in natural fibers and dyes has revived, and the interest in plant-derived indigo, especially among weavers and quilters. So y'all know I teach that some of the tribes from the Southeast and Midwest descend from the ancient Mayans, who traveled here with the peoples that was already here and created the Mississippian civilizations. I already got mad videos that prove it, but I'm going to be going more in depth than I already have with some upcoming. But some you might already know is the Yama or the Yamasee, the Choctaw or the Choctaw, the Chickasaw or the Chickasaw. All of them have ancient Mayan ancestors. And like the Miami or the Mayas, that's just to name a few. We'll get back to that. And ancient Mayans used cotton and indigo to make clothing. The same ones used for Negro cloth, right? Ancient Mayan weavers used cotton to create textiles and indigo plants to produce dyes for their clothes, as you can see here. Right? And it says here that ancient Americans in certain regions used cotton and indigo to make clothes, and their use of these materials was sophisticated and ancient. You got South America right there. You got the oldest example in the world. The oldest woven cotton textiles in the world, dating back approximately 6,200 years, were found at Oaxaca Prieta site on the coast of Peru, where the ancient Mayans and Chinchorro mummies and all that are known to have ruled. This is something from 2,000 years ago, right? This is something 2,000 years ago found in Kentucky. This is supposed to be a shoe that's found 2,500 years ago in Kentucky. Now, the researchers knew that blue dyes were used in the Americas at least 2,500 years ago, and that Egyptians had been using indigo for at least 4,400 years prior to this discovery. The oldest scrap of indigo dyed cloth was an Egyptian sample about 2,400 BC. The Oaxaca Prieta samples proved that the great-great-grandfather of blue jeans might actually have been created by our neighbors to the south. The people of the Americas were making scientific and technological contributions as early, and in this case, even earlier than people were in other parts of the world. This was found in Peru and supposed to be 1,800 years old. The ancestors of the pants you're wearing today could include ancient Peruvian dyeing techniques, scientists say, after the discovery of a 6,200-year-old piece of indigo dyed fabric. Archaeologists discovered the ancient cloth samples during a 2009 excavation of the Peruvian ceremonial mound known as the Huaca Preta. After dating the dyed cotton straps, researchers discovered that their samples were at least 1,800 years old than the next oldest instances of indigo dye found in Egypt. Okay, now let's get back to the ancient Mayans in the southeast. Now, correlations can be found from anthropology like pottery, signs, symbols, crops, etc. But what's most interesting to me is the linguistic connections. Although mainstream academia has not widely adopted the theory, some researchers and linguists propose that several place names in the southeastern United States may have roots in the Isamaya language. These claims are supported by linguistics analysts, share oral histories and archaeological comparisons, suggesting that ancient migration and trade networks that connected Mesoamerica with American Indian cultures in the southeast, such as the Creeks and Seminoles. So we know both of those names, Creek and Seminole, didn't exist to the 1800s, right? So they're talking about the people of the Yamasee nations. It's different. It's a lot of different tribes that compose of that nation, right? But this is who they're talking about, the Yamasee. Here are examples of southeastern city and place names with potential Mayan connections. Chattahoochee, the river and town name in Georgia, is believed to be derived from the Isamaya words Chattahoochee, meaning carved stone, Stella Shallow River, or ancient ruins, Shallow River. Miami, the name of the city in Florida, is an anglicization of Miami, which in both the native language of the area and Itza means principal place of the lake people. The native Florida people of the region, the Miccosukee, traditionally called themselves Mayas until forced to change their name by the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs in 1955. But I've been saying this for years, right? Y'all go follow my YouTube if you ain't already. Let's continue though. Tallulah, the name of this gorge, river, and falls in Georgia, is thought to be derived from the Isamaya word Tallulah, meaning district administrative town with one mound. And what does it have there? One mound. Etowah, the river and town found in several southeastern states, may come from the Isamaya word Etala, meaning principal town or capital. Altamaha, the river in Georgia, is thought to be derived from the Isamaya words Altamaha, meaning place of the trade river. Now check out this one, right? Really the next two. But Chickamauga, and if y'all know, the Battle of the Chickamauga is the last battle of the Civil War, right? And then they say they don't know what that word actually means, so they call it the River of the Dead. But this right here gives more insight. Two creeks in Georgia share this name, which is believed to come from the Isamaya words Chickamauga, meaning house of the king. Come on, man, you can't make this shit up. Now, before y'all peep Alabama, we about to get into that. They say the Alabama comes from a Choctaw phrase which means thicket clearers or plant cutters or herd gatherers, referencing the tribe's historical role in clearing land for cultivation or collecting medicinal plants. And we know the word Alabama comes from the Alabama tribe, which is supposed to be a Muskogean-speaking tribe who lived in the region. And some people say it comes from Alba Ammo. They got a whole lot of shit going on. Now check out the bottom right here. It says the name of the state is proposed to be from the Isamaya words Alabama, meaning the principal place of jaguars. And you got more over here, but I want to show you something. Most people don't know that jaguars used to roam Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. And as you can see here, it says jaguars have not naturally roamed in Alabama for many decades. They were extirpated from the United States by the mid-20th century, and the last known female was shot in the 1960s. While there are few reports of modern sightings of the similar-looking jaguarandia in Alabama, these are thought to be escaped or released from captive animals as there is no evidence of a breeding population. Basically saying that jaguars used to roam Alabama, and the Islamic word would be for the place of the jaguars. I was going to keep going, but I think I'm going to stop here. We're going to get more in depth on these subjects and a lot more on a couple of my up and coming videos. If you haven't already, please like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about it. And go to my YouTube and subscribe if you're